pounds. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
The Detroit Lions made another signing, and it was a hell of a good signing. But before we talk about that, we're here with Roar Lions UK. What's up, man?
I'm doing good, Mike. You know, I'm just enjoying what Brad Holmes is cooking. I am drinking it. I am eating it. I am all about the mastermind and what he's doing with his team. It's like, we've got a great team and we've not even hit the draft yet. This is just I'm just not used to this. Like, just every time Brad is a blessing.
Absolute blessing. He is a blessing. It feels so good, especially the overreactions that took place after day one. It's hilarious right now. But before we get into these signings and the show, James Janella just became a member. Shout out to you, James Janella. Herm, he's going to like it, man. He's going to like it. We got Brad Holmes, did so well in free agency. What's up, Taylor? Alexis Janella. Dr. Detroit, what's up, my guy? In the building, Lisa DeLorenzo, of course, 9 drinks in here. He's never misses. Steve Likens, I think he literally just hit me up. Chrome, all in the building. Folks, if you're living under a rock, you didn't know that the Detroit Lions made a signing last night. Now, what's up, TA Raw Podcast? Make sure you subscribe. And K ain't pressed and Kurt. I've ended up falling asleep a little bit early last night, so I didn't find out till this morning. The Detroit Lions, they signed Kevin Zeitler, the offensive guard from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, folks, if you don't know, he's one of the better guards in football here. He was in the Pro Bowl last year. 34 years old, 313 pounds. He's actually a right guard, for sure. Sacks allowed, only 2, 45th best in the NFL. Passing grade, 82.5, second best in the NFL. Pass protection, overall 69.3. Ant-Man, tell the folks about Zeitler.
See, I was actually the same as you. I've been at a wedding all weekend getting drunk, and I was the same last night. And I kind of looked and I sort of saw it, and I'm like, no, that's not real. I went to bed, got up this morning, I'm like, oh my God, we actually did it. And I love this signing. It's great. We needed a guard. I know everyone's going to go, he's 34, he's getting on in years, but this is really, for us, it's quite perfect. Because now this allows us to bring in guys during the draft, younger guys, interior prospects, who we can gel into this team. Like Zeitler, he's going to be here for 1 year. Let's face it, he's not going to be here for more than 1 year. We're paying him a base of $6 million. This is a contract that's there that he can come in, do his job, and hopefully we can draft a guy, get him trained. And as the season progresses, you get towards the end of the season, you bring him in, you make the transition. And we're going to need this because we've got a lot of payments coming up on the offensive line, but for now, this gives us a guy who can come in and help us win right away because he's been one of the better guards, even with his advancing age. His play is not dropping off. Gives us a good baseline right away while we can develop the young guys. I love it. I think everything about this is a very smart signing.
Scott, what up, my man? Chrome in the building. And of course, TA. Yeah, dude, this is a great signing. First off, what's up, Brett? I see people slowly coming in here. Look, you're getting a guy in Kevin Zeitler, folks. I don't know if you've seen this, but the guy was practicing in the delivery room when his daughter was being born while his wife is in labor. The dude was practicing in the room. This guy is a football guy. Right there. I like this guy. I like him quite a bit. He is definitely a Dan Campbell type of individual. He loves football. The most important thing, Ant-Man, here, I don't know if it's the most important, but it's very important. Continuity of the offensive line. Ant-Man, this dude doesn't miss time. He likes to play. He's a Frank Ragnow built tough type of individual. And you now got 4 first-round picks out of 5 on the offensive line. Taylor Decker, first-round pick. Insane. Frank Ragnow, first-round pick. Kevin Zeitler, first-round pick. Penei Sewell, first-round pick. And, man, that's called beef. That's called strong.
This is called we're going to kick your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. That is literally what this is. But, yeah, again, you don't get many offensive linemen getting to sort of their mid-30s still being a bona fide starter on their team unless they've got something special about them. Let's not forget, playing with the Ravens last year. Ravens made it as far as we did. They made the championship game as well, only in the AFC, and he was a critical part of that line. So he's playing at a high level. It's not dropped off. If anything, I think they said his grades went up last year after his years 31 and 32. His year 33 was even better. So again, this just gives us a ton of flexibility because I say starter right out the gates. You can bring him in, you can plug and play. You know, he loves to help run the ball, did good enough in pass pro, and then it allows us just to develop guys behind him and have a long-term succession here because, as we've seen, you throw a lot of these young offensive line guys in right away, day one, they flame out. Like, there's too much pressure there now. We've got a lot of vets in. We've got the line to go and win right away whilst we're still building for the future. And plus now, that's another gap filled. We don't have to take risks in the draft. We don't have to reach for a guard. We don't have to, and that's what Brad does. Fills the holes in free agency. Go get your best player that you want in the draft. So that filled, like, really, outside of a veteran safety, the last major need we had in free agency. So, like, this is perfect scenario for us now. And like I said, we just needed to wait and be patient. Free agency is a long process. Like, the offseason is a long process. Like, we've got months and months and months. Players are going to come available. And because Brad has been patient and waited, we'll get the right guys.
Folks, we went into this free agency period having some needs there. We needed a guard, edge rusher, cornerback, defensive tackle. In free agency, we trade for a cornerback, we sign a cornerback, we sign a defensive tackle, and now we just signed a guard. Now we're sitting at pick 29, folks. Brad Holmes, and TA said it best right here, can go any direction they want to go. They could trade up, they could trade back, they could take a player. You don't have a pressing need right now. Now, you're not forced to take a guard at 29. You're forced to take corner at 29. Not forced to take an edge rusher at 29 or DT. But who is BPA of those positions could be taken. And that's the position you want to be in for building a roster. You want to take the best player available. He took these needs, fixed the needs. Now, like you're saying, I still think they take a guard significantly early in the draft here. First off, because Zeitler's 34, Graham Glasgow's 31. Okay, we don't know the future of Frank Ragnow after this year. So they can go ahead and draft a guard, or even if they wanted to go to tackle it or something like that, and let them sit and learn. Rookies tend to make some mistakes. They have good games and they have bad games. With veterans, they're more consistent. So now whoever they draft at that guard position or cornerback position, they can just go ahead and kind of just learn behind these veterans. And that is so important because we want to win right now. We want to win week 1. We don't want to win, starting week 8. And we got the players right now to win right now. And we got the draft to go ahead and get those cornerstone pieces and not forced to play them immediately.
Absolutely. And I think you've kind of maybe seen a little bit of a sneak peek in what he wants to do. We know Brad likes his trenches, right? He loves to draft his trench players. That's what you build your foundation on. And now having Zeitler here, like you said, we've got pressing needs going forward. You've got to pay both your offensive tackles next year. Decker's out of contract. Penny's in the last year. You've got to pay them both. Frank, who knows what's going on with him in terms of his long-term health. And like I said, both the guards are in the 30s. One's going to be gone. So I think you're still going to see a big emphasis on the offensive line this year. You could do with one at all 3 positions, really, to draft in and develop them there. Your edge room, Davenport is likely going to be a 1-year guy, dependent on what goes on there. But it's not, you're not giving big certainty to your future. You're not giving him a 3 or 4 year deal. This is a flyer. The depth is still low there. At defensive tackle, DJ Reader is in, but you still ideally want more. So you've got needs at all your trench positions. So what Brad's done is the units as they can right now can go in and compete next year, and he can come and draft his guys for the future, and he's under no pressure to rush them in right away. So I think we will see a lot of emphasis on the trenches in the draft, still dependent on who's there. But like the first 3-4 picks, I could see all been trench guys, and that would be fine.
I completely agree with you. It could be that way, and I'd be 100% fine with it. On the offense and defensive line, I still think we significantly need an edge rusher. And somebody asked, would you trade up to get one? At this point, man, look, I don't care how they get it. We're so close that, and with the positions, you can go any direction you want to go. Trade up, you can trade back, but you just take the best player. Kurt Steele, what's up, my Maya? In the building. Appreciate you. Got Z Digital, Samuel Lang in the building. What's up? Now, this is what sets this draft up so great, because I don't know about you. I have zero idea who they're going to take the first, second, even what position they're going to take. Yeah. I have no idea. And with Bob Quinn and other GMs, you have an idea. I have no idea here. And this is what Brad Holmes has done, is no one's going to have an idea what they're going to do besides them. And that sucks for a content creator. Great for a general manager.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. But, you know, with Brad, it's kind of figuring out the guys he likes, trying to wheedle out those, because everyone thinks they know what a Brad Holmes player is now, and you still can't definitively answer what one is. Only he knows. But, you know, like you said, this is a really good problem to have this year. Now, if we want to go up to get, like, if we figure we're one or two pieces away and we want to go up and fill one of those needs big time, we can do that. If we want to go down and get a few more picks, because obviously we've given up one in free agency, then we can do that. It's all dependent. You know, at the end of the day, he will have his little board with probably 20, 25 guys on it that he really wants. And wherever they're dotted around, wherever they're at, he'll go get them. And plus, it depends what other teams do as well. Like, a lot of other teams are stupid. We've seen this in years go by. We've got some very favorable. That trade with the Vikings, like, we fleeced them. Like, we could do that. We could jump right up again and have the pants down again. Who knows? It's like with Brad, I just find it so unpredictable. Like I said, and I think that's better for us, really. Like, I don't expect us to pick at 29. Like, that's the last thing in the world I expect. But if you tell me, is it up or down? I have no idea. Who are they going for? No idea. Like, don't know the position. It just depends on the guys they specifically like.
This is interesting because after a move like this, you can contemplate, should they trade up to get a player? Now, if the Lions were to trade up, I don't know how far you'd have to go up, significantly far. Would you give up a second-round pick to get a Jared Verse? Like, trade to a team? You had Jared Verse, DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, and Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line. I wouldn't do it for a first. Second-round pick? Remember, I think that's what we gave up right for the Jameson Williams trade, was like a second and something else. And that was going from, I think it was the last to, 12? So what if the Lions could do another deal like that? Would you get your Jared Verse?
I'd go up for the right guy. Like, this is not just pertaining to edge, but if it's the right guy in general, I'm not disinclined to trade up. Like, whether it's Jose Newton, whether it is Jared Verse, Laiatu Latu. Like, Latu is like another, like, you know, if you're not fussed about the next stuff, if you want explosive guys, he's better than Verse. Like,
Laiatu Latu is someone as underrated, and I love him on this football team. Tell the folks about a guy who doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion.
Because he's undersized. He's undersized. He's got short arms, and everybody goes, well, that's not good in the NFL. They like their athletic. But you just take one look at him. Exactly. You take one look at him. He has the best pass rushing arsenal of any player in this draft. Like, pure lock, stock, two smoking barrels. Guy can do everything. He is relentless. He is furious. He just plays every down like it's his last. And he's done it on the back of a serious neck injury, which medically retired him. But he's fought through that. He's come back. He's played two of the best years of an edge rusher just going on a wonderful defense against some really high caliber offensive linemen in the Pac-12. So, you know, if it's going to be a guy like that, if we're going to go up, I do not mind at all. I don't really mind what Brad does at all. I feel like this might be the first year, potentially, you could see some of the major future picks come into play if he does want to give up a little bit into the future for now, because we know he can always go down with other picks in future years and get them back. I figure that might be in play, because if we've lost one of the top 100 picks, which we have, he might just be ready to go and get his guys now because he knows the window's open.
And look, someone says I wouldn't trade, and I'm not going to argue with that, Bob Lane, at all, because you make a great point that he's so good in the draft. You want to keep your draft picks. So it is a gamble. It's a gamble. I don't know about you, but I feel like this defense, it's time to finish this bad boy. And you went and you got Zeitler. This offense, now, starters, it's pretty much done, right? You got quarterback. You got your starter there. Offensive line, all the starters. You got it. Zeitler, he's going to fill that hole. Running back, same rooms coming back. Wide receivers, excluding Josh Reynolds, so far all coming back. Now, it's the time, Ant-Man, to make this defense like the Lions' offense. Ferocious, built in the trenches, pass rush, sacking quarterbacks. That's what I want to see. And getting turnovers with the secondary. I want to see them finish this defense, this draft.
And you're 100% right. And the way our team is built at the moment, like if I was to do this, if it was just me in my case, the early picks would go on the defense, because you look at the offense. What do we need on the offensive line? We don't need anything right now. So you can go and get day 2, early day 3 guys for your offensive line, because you have a year to develop them and build them up into what you want them to be. The same with the running back room. If you want to take a running back 3, if you just want another guy in there, you go right to the end of the draft. With the wide receivers, there are plenty of very talented outside receivers. We need an outside receiver, but you go to day 3 for these guys. Plenty of guys who could fill in right away, I believe, in this draft with them. So you can save those later picks for your offense, and then with the defense, put your big picks into them.
Yes.
Because they will be called into service a little bit sooner. And like I said, you want to finish it off. Just fill those gaps in. Another edge rusher, another DT, another safety. And then, so the way the team is built out, it's good. You can go defense early, offense later, and you are balancing the team out. So, yeah, absolutely. It could be one of the ways to go. And I'd like to do it that way.
Lisa, I actually do believe it's very possible they trade back 100%. They don't have a 4th-round pick still, and they probably want to accumulate a 4th-round pick. I'm not at all. I think the odds of them going up is just the same as going back. I think they're both equally the same, and they could move back for sure. And I would not be upset about it at all. Now, think about this, though. You're like, well, we can get some good guards in the 2nd and 3rd round. Cooper Beebe, in my opinion, is a 2nd-round talent. The Jackson Powers is probably round 3. It's a day 2. You still get good offensive linemen that they could develop. But if you get the starters immediately for that defense with best player available, they can make some noise immediately. Because if we look at the edge position, I think, to me, this is the lackluster of depth is the edge position, right? We get James Houston's going to be back. He'll be good to go. We got Marcus Davenport, Ada Hutchinson, but we need a couple more studs up in that defensive line. We need that defensive line like this offensive line. I want to terrorize folks and not have quarterbacks sitting back all game long just picking us apart. And so if we could get that stuff early in the draft, it would, for me, it would make me do a sigh of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's just one of many ways you can go here. For me, this is a perfect year for offensive line if you want to go depth. There are so many great day 3 guys this year who you can sit and you can prepare behind the main bunch going forward, and they are starter quality going forward. I absolutely fully believe that there. And then, like you say, you can go after some of the positions a little bit earlier. You do want the edge room. Like, there are a lot of these top end edges I hate. I don't really like that. There are just a couple of specific.
There's just a handful.
You've got to go up and get them.
Yeah.
Then do that. That's fine. That's why I'd rather, if it was me, I'd rather they go up and get the specific guy. Because the big problem with trading back, and Dr. DeJoyce just mentioned it there, there aren't many roster spots available next year. You don't want 10 draft picks this year.
No, you don't want 10
players.
No.
Because where the hell are they going to go? You can't fit them all on the roster.
They won't make the roster.
No, you have got to start being very picky, because if you just start putting too many rookies in there and messing your depth chart up, then you've got issues. Right now, you want to continue picking great guys, filling out the roster that way. This isn't the year to be trading back and getting loads of picks. And even if you're throwing them into future drafts, just go and get the specific guys right now. That is what you want, because there are a lot of dangers to be added. If you want a defensive tackle, go early, because the classes rank after the first couple of guys. If you want an edge, go really early and get the top guys, because there's a lot on the fringe of that end of the first round. Like, everyone goes up against Chop Robinson, screaming bust right at you, screaming that they're going to be bad. You don't want these type of guys. You want the specifically good guys. So, yeah, I think if he's going to go anywhere, it'll be up. But, again, who knows?
But trading back, it doesn't necessarily mean you get draft picks this year. You could pick up future draft picks as well. So remember, if they trade back,
it is.
You get like a 4th round pick, maybe.
I hate doing
pick something
that.
up next year. Yeah, that is part of it though. But they could do anything in this draft. And I bet you that I probably won't get a whole lot of well done in my final mock draft because I have no idea.
Oh God, no! I would not expect anything, because I think they're just going to be up and down all over the place again, because their list is so specific, and so I think it's a lot smaller than a lot of other teams. I think you have to wheel and deal a lot to get in position to get the right guys. So, I'm not expecting anything in terms of picking them at the right spot, at least anyhow.
So far, so good, folks. About 200 in the chat. Go ahead and hit that like button. It does help out. Try to get Herman. I wanted to wait a couple weeks after free agency before I got him back on here, and then we can we'll give his perspective of some of the players whom the Lions picked up here. So it's looking pretty good, man. I mean, we did a lot so far this offseason. What grade? Everybody in the comment section, put a grade for the free agency so far. I'm going to go with B+. I go with B+. The one thing that's still knocking me down is I'm not big on Marcus Davenport, but DJ Reader, Zeitler, I love those. Those last 2 ones were really good.
See, the trouble is, I hate grading so early, because it's like, we don't know what they're going to do. In terms of, free agency is meant to set you up for the draft. Like, I believe Brad's principle implicitly. You fill your holes in free agency to give yourself as much flexibility in the draft as possible. From that point of view, he smashed it out the park, really. You would say it's sort of like an A-. Again, there is a little bit of tentativeness about edge. We still need a veteran safety. I would say that is something that needs to be addressed, because we've got Kirby and Iffy. Neither are a sure thing. As much as we want to believe they are right now, we have to assume, you have to assume the good, but you've also got to assume worst case scenario, that if he just goes back to being inconsistent, and that Kirby's second year slump is not just a second year slump, you've got to have a veteran in there. You need one. But in terms of the guys he's got in, filling the holes there, we have a lot of flexibility in the draft now. It puts us in the perfect position. So he's done really well in free agency, but I just wanted to finish it off with that one more guy on the back end. Yeah.
I feel you. And there's plenty of time still in free agency. Every time somebody moves money, at least contract restructure, expect them to sign a player a couple hours later. Because now that's happened twice so far in free agency this year. We restructure a contract like John Kaminsky, boom, we get a DJ Reader. We structured a contract of Carlton Davis, boom, we turn around and sign Kevin Zeitler. So if we get another contract done, hey, there's your sign, folks. That we're probably gonna be signing a player. I see a lot of B's and A's in here. C+ for Raw Podcast. He's always hard, in which I agree, because he wants to get that pass rusher really well. I think they did good so far this free agency. They did good, and guess what? They haven't done yet, Ant-Man. One thing they haven't done, they have not re-signed Will Harris.
Don't put it out there in the ethos, Mike. Don't do it. They're gonna do it if they hear us say it. Let's just pretend. Let's feign ignorance.
25 hates my guts, man. He hates me so bad.
Until he's playing for the Toronto Argonauts, then I don't want to hear about it. When that is done, fine. But until then, no. Let's not do this. But the one thing I am surprised about is that none of the contract extensions have been done yet.
Yeah, I am shocked.
Because obviously they've come into free agency, and you kind of want to have your big locked up deal so you know what you've got to work with in the future. But we've spent a decent amount of money now in free agency, so I guess we're going to start seeing them over the summer. But I would have thought they'd want to send out a message by getting some of them locked up quite early. Again, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I just thought they'd have done something by now in regards to that. But I guess they're happy just to sit and wait for the time being and wait till the draft's over. And then I guess they can see what the state of the land is after.
Yeah, man, I'm waiting for the Amon-Ra St. Brown and the Lee McNeil one and Jared Goff one to be taking place. I expect it to happen this offseason for sure. I mean, you can't not extend St. Brown this year. I just don't see them not doing that. Same with Lee McNeil. And then the Jared Goff stuff, I guess you could wait a little bit because he's got another year in his contract, but you got to get some of these guys re-signed, man, because we don't want to go into next year and have a ton of freaking free agents you got to re-sign. So I'm with you there for sure. Folks, it is the mailbag time. So if you want to go ahead and ask us a question, do hashtag Lions, hashtag Mike, hashtag Ant-Man, hashtag Brad Holmes, hashtag Cheeks. I don't care. I can see it. We can answer it. And that's what we're doing here. With Peoples-Jones, I think Reynolds is gone. Good question. We'll make this a question. Do you think Reynolds is gone with Donovan Peoples-Jones resigning?
Yeah, I do. It's a shame for him, but I reckon he might get a good amount of money somewhere else, maybe more than we're willing to pay. I would expect receivers on the bill for the draft. I would expect us to walk away with at least one. And don't forget, you've still got Antoine Green in the bag who's been preparing and that. So I think maybe we're seeing the future we're about to go with. If Raymond's going to get increased opportunities in the team as well, because he's still here. Yeah, I think that might be that now. Unless he's just testing free agency and seeing what he can get, and there's a deal on the table. That's why we're waiting. But yeah, my heart tells me it's done.
Yeah, I agree that Donovan Peoples-Jones is a great re-sign. I think it was easy, and he's be effective in his position. Let's see if Detroit trades up. Who do you want them targeting? If they trade up, I want them to get to Jared Verse. That's who. If you're going up for a trade, we're going balls to the wall. I'm gonna go get it. That would be me. Who would you trade up for?
Jazane Newton, quite plainly and simply. I know we got DJ Reader, but I'm just gonna absolutely stack the hell out of that DT class, and we're just gonna go wreck shit up next year. So yeah, that is what I'd do.
If we pick at 29 and grab another X wide receiver, would you mind? First off, I trust Brad Holmes, everything that he does there. So even if I don't like it, I still trust Brad Holmes. Personally, do I want them to get a wide receiver at 29? No. If they do, am I going to be furious? Probably not, because every time he drafts a player, ends up being a freaking great player. So what about you?
If we pick at 29 and grab, yeah, I'd be fine with that. We need one. It is a position of need. I wouldn't do it at 29 myself, but yeah, I wouldn't mind. We do need it.
Yeah, I personally want to do it, but hey, that's that. Cheeks, does Holmes go after one of the top wide receivers? If he does, who might it be? Would you be upset if they picked a wide receiver? I want to see an edge. Well, I got to answer that half one right there. And he just dropped something over there with the word she. I want to get an edge as well. Does he go after a top wide receiver? No, I don't think so, personally. What about you, man?
I mean, obviously, I have no idea what Brad's going to do. Personally, I don't think he would. I think his penchant he's a trench guy, and we know he's a trench guy. And the thing is, if you look at the overlay of this team, there's going to be a lot of holes on those trenches coming forwards in future years. So I would think he would be leaning towards that. So I don't think so. If he was to go after a guy out of all the top ones, I think it would be Rome Odunze. Like, he would be the one for me who ticks the boxes here. If he was going to do it, but again, could be wrong. But I don't think he will, but I think that would be the guy he did, if he did.
Brent DeWitt, I'm going to say between 10 and 15. That's where Verse will go. I think there's going to be a run on quarterbacks. There could go 4 quarterbacks in the top 5. Legitimately could happen. Mailbag, do you think we can get Quandre Diggs back in the D? Could we? Yeah. Are we? I don't think so. But he's a free agent if they wanted to. Would you take Diggs back? I know you want the veteran safety back there.
Yeah, the money's right. He's still playing at a good level, and I think given, we know he loves Detroit. We know he does love the team. Didn't want to go in the first place. It was management that forced him out. I think he would be the ideal fit. Yeah, he would be the ideal fit. You want him training your next generation of safeties whilst being the guy who's setting the example.
Do you think Holmes drafts a quarterback in the second to learn behind the veterans he recently signed? I think that he absolutely could draft a cornerback even in the first round. It's not off the table. It's not off the table. So yeah, second round for sure they could. They absolutely could.
I agree. I mean, I like to draft my corners. I like to have the future security of the rookie deals and that at corner position as well. So I would love for us still to get one pretty high because there's a great bunch of guys in there this year. Obviously, the need, if the right guy's not there now, you don't have to force and go get. You can wait till your next guy comes up. But I certainly would still be taking one high because there's no guarantees in there. Like, how many corners have we bought in recent years, Mike, and thought, oh, these might be good, and they've sucked? Like, there's no guarantees in life. So you still got to draft.
We have 27.3 million in cap space left. Plenty of cap space. Hashtag, do we draft a guard in the first round? BB, I have him as a second round grade. Could they draft a guard at 29? Yeah, they absolutely could. They can go any direction at 29. I literally have zero idea what they're going to do. But select Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, if Marvin Harrison Jr. fell to 29, that would be the biggest fall of all time. And you would have to take him. There's no chance he...
I tell you what, though, just theoretically, if we did, I would completely sploosh if we did. Would you think? Marvin Harrison Jr., Jameson Williams, and Amon-Ra
That'd be
Brown.
the greatest show on turf.
Oh, God. That'd be, yeah, pick your poison. Jared Goff would throw for 6,000 yards with them.
He threw for 7,000 yards. And then the half the season with all those weapons, man. What do you think about Sweat from Texas? What do you think about Sweat?
I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. I don't know whether the Reader signing has negated a guy with his style. Because again, he's the big run stuffer and he's really good in that regards. I don't know. I want more of a pass rushing guy now at DT personally. Hence why I love Newton so much. But he's a really good player, and we may well draft him. But the signing of Reader for me has made it a little more unlikely.
Is there a free agent veteran safety, even though we're pretty set at the position that you guys would like to sign? For me, I want to go in a different direction. I'd do an undrafted or drafted guy, but he wants to get a veteran. Who is a veteran safety you would like to get?
I really wanted Justin Simmons. I don't know whether he's been snapped up yet. I know he's talking to people, but I'm pretty sure he's still a free agent. So I would still be on that boat because again, he's 30, but he's playing his prime football at this moment, playing some of the best he has, and he's very hungry. He's one of the best at his position. So if we could snag Justin Simmons still at this point, I'd do that in a heartbeat, like far and away over everybody else.
I'm pretty sure he's a free agent still.
Yeah, I know. I think he's been taking visits, but like I'd be moving heaven and earth. If we got Justin Simmons right now, then good Lord, we'd be in such a strong position.
Ross says Eagles trying to get Simmons. They just got CJ Gardner-Johnson, so would they do another one? I don't know. But they could. I mean, it's the Eagles. They do a lot of they definitely acquire talent. Hashtag F the Packers, hashtag F the Bears, hashtag F the Vikings. With all the obvious holes filled, at least to some degree, we have no idea what Brad Holmes will do. That's hashtag facts. I have no idea what they're going to do.
You'll not hear us saying otherwise. Like I don't have a Scooby, and I will never pretend to have a Scooby about what he's trying to do. I can only say what I do and try and guess.
I thought that I was pretty good in filling holes, but Brad Holmes, he is a G at it. Hashtag Detroit. Are the Lions a top ring chasing destination? I wouldn't say it's a top ring. It's up there. Yeah, probably like top 5 for sure. But the very top probably be Kansas City because because all they do is win Super Bowls over there. They're becoming the new Tom Brady and the Patriots. What's the word on EQ St. Brown? Is he still a Bear? He's a free agent. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. I don't know.
He will also be playing in Canada next year.
Yeah, we're playing in Canada. Or we'd be on a practice squad. If Sweat was at 29, would you take Sweat at 29?
Oh, God, no. No. That's way too high. Personally, I'd be waiting for the second round for him. Yeah. The only one I want in the first round that is a DT is Jazane Newton. That's it. Rest of you are going to have to wait.
8 million, yep, towards the rookies. 9 drinks is correct. So even though we got 24 million, remember we got to do money for the rookies as well. And then they could sign some smaller name guys. I don't think it's going to be a gigantic splash just because you got to re-sign our own guys at some point. Let's see. It possibly, if drafting a kicker in the later rounds, would you draft a kicker? Yes, I would. 100%. You're telling me you can get a starter in the 6th or 7th round that could last in your team for a while? Yeah, it's a kicker, but we've had a problem at the kicking position for years now. Now, I like Michael Badgley. I think he's an all right kicker, but if you can get something better, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be drafting Harrison Mevis like before anyone else could get him. You could trade back and get another day 3 pick and get him there. Then he's the dude.
Do you see the Bears and Vikings having rookie quarterbacks here? If so, is the North between the Lions and the Packers? I do see them both getting rookie quarterbacks, even though I think Sam Darnold will initially start, and then whoever they draft will probably eventually be the starter there. And we all know that Caleb Williams is going to the Chicago Bears. He's the next quarterback over there. It's done deal, in my opinion.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Mike, how much did you laugh when Fields got traded for a 6th?
I laugh very, very hard because a lot of Bears fans have been saying that Justin Fields is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I thought he'd play much better, but I mean, they bragged about it, and now you trade him away for a 6th round pick.
I mean,
I think he's more valuable than a 6th round pick.
Maybe they were right. Just when they were saying King of the North, they meant like Canada North, not NFC North. Maybe he might be King of the Canadians one day. So like he could, but I just found it funny. And all the takes that are coming back when we took Penei Sewell and they're like, oh, we should have drafted Justin Fields. Like, well, I mean, that's probably up there with some of the worst draft takes ever right now.
I tell you what, though, Justin Fields always terrorized us, so it's good to have.
You know what? I love him. I love the fact that he's gone somewhere else because I loved him as a prospect. I can cheer for him again.
Yeah, yeah.
I can cheer for him again now. But it's just funny that the Bears screwed him up. Like
they did.
If they can screw him up, they can screw anybody up.
If Justin Fields went to a proper team with developing quarterbacks, Fields would not be traded for a 6th round pick. But Chicago is just terrible. You just cannot get a quarterback.
No, I've seen the stats that have come out about the last few classes about how few quarterbacks are making it to starters. And they're right. All these guys just get thrown in to bad situations on bad teams and get wrecked and then discarded. And it's like, I think we're going to have to start seeing a point soon where veterans are in and rookies start getting sat again like you used to do because it's just so little how few guys are getting through at this point. I feel sorry for him. As for the Vikings, they're certainly going to have a rookie. They're going to be trading up. Like, they're prime candidates to rinse in a trade or to trade back with because they'll want more picks. But I don't know who it'll be, but they'll have a new guy. I kind of want it to be J.J. McCarthy just so it splits Michigan loyalty, but hey-ho.
Thoughts on Leonard Taylor, defensive tackle from Miami, Florida?
He's awful. He's absolutely awful. He's the guy who people had at the start of this season as a round 1 draft pick, despite the fact he's done nothing in college at all. And, I think it was name value because of how high a recruit he was. He's had a horrible college career. He's a terrible player. I won't go anywhere near him. Like, he just screams bust at this level. And he would. He's like this year's Siaki.
He could end up being like a 6th round pick or a 7th round pick.
Oh God, yeah. He should be back into day 3. He's not been good at all. He's like, if you want to red flag someone in this draft, he's the one you red flag.
Yeah, it'd be a late round pick at developmental, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes these guys can do well in development. Let's see. Detroit needs to be trading up for an elite pass rusher. Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. Detroit needs an elite defensive end now, not later. I agree, man. I really want them to get a pass rusher opposite of Aiden. We didn't get in free agency. We got the draft coming up, and you could still do it via trade. A Hassan Reddick. But, man, I really want to get that pass rusher. I really do.
I think they might. They could double dip. I think they double dip. I think you've got a lot of talent at edge later in this draft as well. And in day 2, like just if you sort of avoid most of the top guys and you start going down, like if you could get one of the elite edge rushers at the top and then get another guy like Javon Solomon or someone afterwards, that would be really good. Like he's going to go day 3 or late day 2 and he's an amazing pick out of Troy. He will be. So I think they could double dip at edge easy.
They could, and I think they should double dip. I think they should double dip. Let's see here. Do you have any thoughts on edge prospect Darius Robinson from Mizzou? I like his arm length, overall size, but I haven't got much tape on him. 8.5 sacks, I think. 8.5, 9 sacks. What do you think about him?
So, Darius Robinson is the type of prospect that I hate. Don't get me wrong, I like him as a player, but 5 years in college, 4 sort of scrapping around as a defensive tackle, nose tackle before. Year 5, they finally put him out on the edge, and he's done really well. But it's 1 year of production on the edge. He struggled badly on the interior for the years before that. So he's underdeveloped as an edge rusher because he's not played out there as much. He's got the athletic profile. He's got the body. He's got all the things you want. But when you're picking at 29, I want a little bit more than, potentially really good. And Brad Holmes seems to stray away from those guys as well who have the athletic profile but don't have the body of work behind them. With the right coaching, he could be great at the next level. But at 29, I just wouldn't want to do it because he's only had the 1 year out there and he's got no inside versatility because he struggled there a lot. But yeah.
Let's see here. Later round rushers, Lions of visit is Nelson Caesar. Okay, that someone says, would you take Nealon in day 2? I think he'd be a 5th round pick, 4th round pick. But we don't got a 4th. 5th round, I would. Let's see. Robinson's solid, but raw prospect. Yeah, there's gonna be that's what's good is we can get some raw prospects as a developmental for the back end of the draft and let them sit. But I still want to get some players that can immediately make an impact. There's Robinson's NFL body, but it's so raw. 2nd round prospect they visited are Trice, Nealon, and Robinson. Clearly, the Lions are looking at edge, and that's clear. I think everybody knows that. What about another position? What other position do you want to see the Lions attack? What about linebacker?
No, not early. Anyhow, my entire guilty pick will be picking Peyton Wilson in the 1st round. Like, I put him with Jack Campbell for 10 years and we'll have the best group of linebackers in the NFL. But I would be kind of waiting for day 3. Again, lots of guys who you can build. You want to plug guys in. Like, Aaron Casey's the one I'd be really looking at out of Indiana for that. Like, a guy I could bring in, blood in, whilst I've got my starters in there. I wouldn't really want them to attack that too much. If they were otherwise, I would like them to attack guards still. I think there's some really good guards in there. Yeah. Christian Haynes has always been my favorite, but you've got Mahogany, you've got Xavier Gatlin. You've got a lot of good guys you can bring in who will be ready to start in a year at very minimum. And again, given our offensive line, the structure of it going forward, we need these sort of guys as well. So yeah, it would be edge, maybe certainly corner still. Safety, if we don't get another one, we'd need to draft another one because the depth is just not there. So carry on building at the safety position as well.
How many 1st round players is there for the Lions? It's going to be different for the rest. We don't need a whole lot of offense, and a lot in this draft. Offense is going to go a lot in the top 10. You may not even see a single defensive player in the top 10. So for us, it's probably going to be a little bit different because we're really needing defense. I don't know exactly how much 1st round talent. I could say there's probably like 22, 23. I don't know. There's going to be players who will get drafted ahead than you expect them to get drafted. That's how their teams view it. So it's really difficult to kind of look at it like that.
Yeah, it's tough this year. I feel like the quarterback market's saturating.
It's saturating.
Like, I don't think all these people putting JJ McCarthy up there, Penix, Nix, these sort of guys, I don't think they are 1st round quality yet. And but they might go in the 1st round because there's a big rush on quarterbacks. You see a lot of teams in the NFL are stacking veterans now. So again, we talked earlier about how, if you are going to get a guy to develop this year at quarterback, even if it's in the 1st round, plenty of teams have got a veteran to bridge them through. So you could get a lot of guys in tackles. Like, there's a premium on offensive linemen this year as well. That's why you see so many tackles up there. There are a lot of good tackles. So, I'm not sure all of them are 1st round caliber, but because there's such a need for them, they're going to get pushed up there. I'm not sure. I feel like there's maybe a little bit more actual bona fide first round talent than last year, but I don't know if it's much. And I have no idea how much the Lions value this again. I can only
It's
speculate.
impossible. It's
I have
speculative.
0% influence being able to ask that question right. But I look at it and I think the needs are diluting the first round this year. Like with corner as well, it's the same. I think
Yeah,
needs are diluting. I think
I
there's a lot of
agree.
really good corners this year, but you're talking to be actual first round
Yeah, I
caliber
agree.
corners. I don't see as many as are getting put there. So
It's difficult because, like you're saying, there's a lot of saturation in this draft. There could be 5 quarterbacks going the first round, 4 in the first top 4. You could even see 5 in the top 5. Then you got a lot of wide receiver prospects out there, and then tackle prospects. So that's going to really push it down a little bit. So it's hard to tell what other teams are going to do, and then it obviously switches what we do. So very difficult. What's up, Wolva Lion Sports Talk? Make sure you subscribe to my man right there. He sent me a shirt, and I'm actually wearing the shirt right now, the Wolva Lion shirt underneath here. So thank you for that. Subscribe to his channel. We see Brad go from 32 pick to 12 for a steal price and makes think Brad want to do it again. I don't think anybody thinks that Brad want to do it again. I think we all think that it's very possible he could do it again.
I mean, the shocking thing is he might go up for a tackle. Who knows? Like, I mean, that could be a thing as well. Because again, we've got to pay both guys next year. If Taylor Decker plays really well next year, he might price himself out of Detroit because we got a lot of other deals coming up as well. So again, if they figure that there is a top guy there that they really want, there is no reason why they wouldn't go ahead and try and make that deal. So again, I think everything is on the table. But this is the great point about not having holes in your team. Every single possible conceivable option is on the table. Even if you want to go up and sacrifice a few picks for a position that might not seem of need right now, but will in the future, you can do it. So do we need a top offensive tackle right now? No.
No,
Will we this time next year?
Yes.
We could potentially well do. So let's make a break on it and get them now.
Yeah, it's tough to find linemen, 2 tackles that are good. It's tough. So I mean, that's a premium position that every team tries to attack. So it's very possible. I got us going 5-1 in the North, splitting with the Packers. You guys, I would have said 3-3, but after the moves that I'm going to go say 4-2. With a rookie quarterback with the Bears, I think they'll have a little bit of struggling this year from that position. Even though I think their team is really good, I think it's much improved. But Caleb Williams is a rookie, so I'll go 4-2. What do you got?
It's very difficult because we've still got the draft to go. We've still got the offseason to go, roster cut down, stuff like that. A lot of bits can happen in the meanwhile. As the teams stack now, I would see us in the sort of 4-2 range. Because let's not forget, you could be the best team in the world. You're going to lose one of your divisional games. Like, it happens. Like, divisional games are tough. They're intense. Lower of odds is you're going to lose one. So I think we're at the 4-2-ish range at the minute. We'll lose a couple of the road games, maybe. But if we have another draft and we knock it out the park, it might go up.
Yeah, the NFC North is a tough division, and it's getting tougher by the year. So Caleb Williams, I think he's going to end up being pretty good, but it's a rookie year, so that's going to be tough. Bears will be tough for a while. And then the Vikings, I guarantee you they're going up to get a quarterback. Like, they got 2 first-round picks, and they're going to go up there and get a quarterback, put them behind Sam Darnold, and then we'll see how well their team goes. But there's rumors out that the Kansas City Chiefs may try to trade for Justin Jefferson. That'd be interesting. That'd definitely shake up the NFC North.
Absolutely. I mean, like, again, I've not done a first-round mock draft yet, but the one thing, I can usually guarantee at least one thing every year. The Vikings going up for a quarterback is one of those. That is happening. That will happen. It just depends how high are they willing to go and who do they want. So it's tough. Like, the Bears have fast-tracked their rebuild. Like, that could go really wrong. Some of the moves they're making, I just don't get. Like, you're bringing Keenan Allen in. You're like, you got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. You got guys like this. Like, that's trying to supercharge your rebuild, and that could just end up in pieces because they've got a terrible head coach and a GM who's sort of hot and cold. But they could be really good or they could be really bad. The Packers, I'm inclined to believe the Packers are going to be good.
Yeah,
like it just sucks, but they usually draft pretty well. We know they've got a competent roster currently. They've lost a little bit of it, but
they're young.
They're young like us, and they're building. I think the Vikings are going to be terrible. I think the Vikings are going to get swept next year by everybody. But if they get a quarterback right away who lands, who knows? But it is tough. With the Packers and the Bears, it's tough. But if we carry on progressing how we should stay at the top of the pile.
Vikings defense got a lot better this offseason, but the offense just took like losing Kirk Cousins. I don't think people realize how big that is. A rookie quarterback's not gonna be as good as Kirk Cousins as a veteran day one. There's gonna be some hiccups whenever that guy gets in there. And Sam Darnold, I'm sorry,
I mean, their defense, they've sort of traded like for like. I mean, they bought Jonathan Greenard in, which is a terrific signing on the edge. Signing. But then they've let Daniil Hunter go. So they're doing what Patricia and Quinn used to specialize at. They're replacing pieces, not adding to pieces. Like, I'd have thought, keep Hunter, get Greenard. All of a sudden, good Lord, that defense is amazing. They're just replacing pieces. They're not getting better. That's the thing with the Vikings. And, the quarterback thing, they've let on rumble too long. They've really put themselves at mercy here because the teams at the top are going to know they're desperate for a guy. And I think they're going to get absolutely rinsed to go up, even no matter who it is. I think all the teams will line up ready to fleece them.
Oh, well, I see your Detroit versus everybody's comment in there. The Vikings, I think they'll be good in time. I think they're going to be in a transition year. They could be like an 8-win team, 7-win team, something like that. I think they'll be in transition. And it depends what quarterback they get. Do they go ahead and get J.J. McCarthy? Possible. I think that's who the target is. Drake May, even though their quarterback's coach was with Drake May, I think in early college. So that's something to pay attention to. But yeah, I'm more when it comes to like the NFC North, when I'm looking at it now and going forward, I honestly think the Bears are going to be really good at. I think they're doing the right thing right now. I don't think they'll be great this year, but I think they're going in the right direction. The Packers, they draft well. They're young players. Minnesota's kind of funky. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I think the Vikings
do like a retool instead of just do the rebuild. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do there, but it's going to piss off Justin Jefferson. They should
trade him before the draft. Now everyone will go, you can't trade like Justin Jefferson, but they need to tear it down. They're in a state of perpetual mediocrity, kind of like we were for a long time. We just kind of never really committed to doing this whole thing properly. I mean, if you're going to get rid of Cousins and you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback, you don't go and spend 40. He's going to cost 35, 40 million a year. You don't spend that type of money on a wide receiver, especially in this year's draft, which is one of the most talented wide receiver classes, really depth-wise, that there's ever been. You don't spend that sort of money. You trade him, you get someone to replace him, and then you really commit to the build and do it that way. It just doesn't make financial sense.
Weird that my comments aren't showing up on their stream. Must be filtering. It just showed up this time. Sometimes it does that if you guys are listening. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but it does happen. Lions, if the Lions stay at 29, who do you both think they'll be there in the Lions draft? Oh my God. This is literally it's so difficult. I'll go with Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's who I got. It's a complete in dart throwing with a blindfold on right now. It could be. I give my answer zero credibility. By the way, who do you think? Take a guess because we don't know.
You know what? For me, I'm gonna maintain hope because he's sliding down. But I think Newton's gonna slide down to us. I don't think we're gonna have to move. And I think we're going to get him. And I think someone in the NFL office should be charged with a crime if they do allow us to do that.
Ultra Combo!
Super chat by Zayka, $4.99 super. We do the Ultra Combo. Do it again. All right. Where do the Lions rank in the NFC? This is going to be interesting. You know what? I'm gonna say it now. I think they're gonna be the number one team in the NFC. I know the 49ers, that they beat us. I think the Lions this is a great offseason. I think they go to number 1. That's what I got.
I think we're 2 just behind the 49ers. I think we've got to earn the right to call ourselves better than the 49ers because they showed a level of resilience that we just weren't able to match. And we had a few holes there. I certainly think that we're better than the likes of Philly this year. They've lost a lot of their veteran.
And
I know Kelsey alone is a massive loss for them because that would be like us losing Ragnow. It would be very difficult to replace, and they've lost a lot of vets on that team. So I think we're better than them. Oh, the Cowboys are frauds, and they've done nothing. I think we're better than them.
They've lost their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They've lost players. They signed a long snapper.
The critical thing is we've not lost any of the parts that make us great. Our team is young. We're well within cap. We're not we haven't got worse, and we were the second best team in the NFC last year. So I think we're still there. And like I say, it's just a matter of proving that we've got the mental fortitude to beat the 49ers, and then we can say we're the best team. But that's the great thing about what Brad Holmes has done with our cap. We don't have to shed players. We've not lost anybody who got us to where we were last year, and we can just keep adding to it. That's what makes us so good.
They lost Armstead. They lost their defensive tackle. God, I can't think of his name. It's who I wanted Lions to pick up. They lost Chase Young. They lost quite a bit over there, and at some point, if they don't make or win a Super Bowl soon, they're gonna be losing a lot of players, the Christian McCaffreys and all that type of stuff, because you can't pay everybody, especially when Brock Purdy gets his money at some point. But I'm just, you know what, I'm gonna go with one. I right now, if the Lions can get an edge rusher in the draft, and I think that's what they're gonna do, the Lions will then have a complete team. That's in my complete offense, defense, special teams. They could get a kicker too. I think they'll be number 1, and I got San Francisco number 2. And I don't know what's going on with Philadelphia. I don't know. I think they're going in a bad direction. Bad direction.
I think the Rams might be up there this year. Look at the signings they've been making. I know they've lost Donald, which is going to be big, but they've invested a lot in that team. So they could be big dark horses next year.
And the Falcons, they are a dark horse this year. I think that what they have done is they've probably had the best offseason so far. I like what they're doing.
Kirk Cousins no longer has an excuse. Everyone makes excuses for Cousins not being able to, you're in a terrible division in the NFC South. You're 1-4 in the playoffs in your career. That's how bad you are. You've got to do well there. There's a lot of pressure on him to succeed. With all those weapons they're putting around him as well, there's no reason they shouldn't be making it deep in the playoffs.
What's up, Mike the Marine? Gunny. What's up, Marine? Hoorah. I was in the Army. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Green Bay's pretty good, too. You got to throw Green Bay up there. I think they're a solid team, offense, defense, special teams. The NFC, yeah, I mean, I think Dallas and Eagles take a step back. I think the Green Bay Packers and Atlanta Falcons take a step forward. That's kind of what I'm going on here. Ant-Man, where can they find you?
You can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans from over the pond. You can find our shows on Monday evenings. I do a college podcast on Wednesdays. Usually we're starting that up again now. So yeah, if you want to come check out more of our stuff, hit us up, Roar of the Lions UK.
Jonathan Anton, he said this a couple times. Thoughts on Mike Sanristil?
Michigan
I don't
corner.
know. Oh yeah, I destroyed that name right there.
Sanristil.
Yeah, I'm terrible at names.
He's getting bogged down in he's a good player, but there's a lot of great corners knocking around this year, especially in the area where he's going to go. So I don't think he fits us and what we need, but he could be a good player at the next level.
With that said, folks, I'll leave you with the greatest words ever.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Taking into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm f***ed off at these f***ing clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me